Have you ever felt stuck? I mean stuck in the sense that you cannot get yourself moving, that you know you have things to do, maybe even things you want to do, but you can't get yourself to do any of them. Today, I'm going to talk about how I experience the feeling of being stuck, the different ways that it can come upon me, and how it can look similar on the outside, but feel very different depending on the cause on the inside. I'm Herman Faust, and this is Enjoy It While It Lasts. I didn't put out an episode last week. I've had times where I have had to-do list around the house and disappointed myself and my wife by crossing off none of those things on the list. I've had doctor's appointments that I haven't set because I didn't simply make a phone call. Dishes stacked into the sink, laundry piling up, chances to make money pass me by, and at times it feels like there's no good reason for any of these things to have happened. I guess I should say no reason for them not to have happened. But it's not only with obligations. There's been shows that I am excited to watch, but just never hit play. A game I wanted to play, but never turned the PlayStation on. A friend that I care about and wanted to spend time with, or at least catch up with, but never reached out to. Whenever I'm stuck, it is not about putting off things I don't want to do. It's the feeling that I can't do anything. This can hit me for a few different reasons. And a couple of them look like the same thing is happening on the outside, but internally it could feel extremely different. One thing that can lead to me getting stuck is when depression hits. Whenever I get into where I'm being affected by my depression, it feels like nothing matters at all. I feels like everything I do or could do would be completely insignificant, and all of my motivation gets completely drained out of me. With that, all of my energy also gets drained out of me. It can feel like my whole body is heavy. It feels like my brain is heavy. Like I'm weighted, like I'm wearing this suit of just weighing me down, and even fogs my brain at times. This type of feeling can be triggered by a couple of things. It could be triggered by an event, like a family matter, a family emergency. There's been several of those instances where something just hits me very hard, and it takes me a bit of time to feel like I've recovered from it. It can be times where the loneliness is seeping in, and I feel like I just have no connection to the world. It could also be caused by my own negative self-thoughts just hitting me. I will say this part at least, the self-image causing the depression is something that I'm pretty much over. But in the past, that was a big trigger for me. If I ever started to think too much about any failures I've had or lack of growth in areas that I feel like I should have done more, then that can lead to me feeling very depressed. And um, trigger the stuckness. Besides any obvious triggers, though, the way my depression works is it comes in waves at times. Meaning everything could be going great. I could be having the best self talk possible. I could be feeling very confident. Um, I could have friends surrounding me at times, but then I just kind of start feeling it creep up in the back of my head and in the pit of my stomach. And it kind of slowly gets bigger and bigger until that full wave just comes crashing down and hits me. Whenever that wave hits me, or there's an outside trigger, when I'm stuck because of depression, what that looks like is usually me having a hard time even getting out of bed. I feel like I curl up into my cave and just try to not let myself feel anything because whatever I do feel is just hurting me. When I'm feeling this way, it can feel like it requires an immense amount of effort to do the most basic of tasks. There can be times where it's actually I will think of it as a successful day because I got a couple of things done, but those couple of things just required me to push myself harder than than I really could have imagined that it should have taken. This is the type of stuckness that I have the most difficulty combating. Luckily, this is the type of stuckness that doesn't hit me near as often as it used to. Throughout the show, I've mentioned about myself that I had went through a time period of being in a really deep depression for several years. And since then, in the process of me coming out of it and working my way to where I am today, I'm obviously don't feel like I'm just cured or I'm 100% fully mentally healthy and strong and immune to depression. But by spending several years in therapy and doing the work that I needed to do mentally, changing the way I talk to myself about myself, changing the way I look at my situation, and then actively doing what I needed to do to change my situation in ways, whether it be by improving myself. I've improved my relationship with pretty much everybody. And I have limited relationships that are harmful to me. And by doing this, it's it's led me to the best way that I have to combat the depressive stuckness, and that's more preventative. Because once it hits me, I'm pretty much gonna be hit and haven't found a way to work myself out of it until it just kind of washes over me, washes through me, and my body is just done with it. To go with that, similar to what I said about it not hitting me as much anymore, when it does hit me now, it does pass a lot more easily. It doesn't spiral and just latch onto me near as hard as it used to. I've made enough strides and improvement in my life and in my own mental health and in my own perception of myself to where I'm able to not give in and allow myself to have these repetitive negative self thoughts. And I can't necessarily make myself stop feeling the way I feel, but I can stop feeding into it. I've tried the methods suggested about how to bank specific good memories and specific good feelings to pull those out when you're feeling this uh, weighted, buried under depression. And I guess I want to say it hasn't helped me, but maybe it has because like I said, it doesn't last as long. And there's even, I could say it's not even near as intense as it has been in the past. Whenever I hit a random wave of depression hitting me now, there's a lot of times where it doesn't even get me to the stuckness that I'm describing, that it just gives me a bit of extra sadness, but I'm still able to function. Whenever I do get to full shutdown mode due to depression, though, coming out of it, coming out of it can look very different. It can either be a slow process where, just like where I feel the wave coming on beforehand, I can kind of feel it slowly receding, where one day I'm able to get myself moving just a little bit more, the next day a little bit more, so on until it kind of just has faded away. Um, or there could be a time where I wake up one morning and hey, I feel light again. I don't feel heavy. Let's go. I can do things and it doesn't feel like I'm moving a mountain. Life, for some reason, thankfully, will just feel manageable again. The other kind of stuckness that I have that looks similar on the outside is when anxiety hits. When I get stuck due to anxiety, it's not this crashing wave or it's not this emotional feeling of being heavy and overwhelmed by emotion. It's more the feeling of being overwhelmed by life, by there's too much stuff to do, or I feel behind in too many areas. I might feel like I have so many important things to do and I can't figure out which one of them I need to do first, or I don't feel like I have the energy to do them all, even though I do have enough energy to do some. But because I get stuck in this loop, this anxiety loop, I just kind of shut down and turn it off and say, well, I can't do everything, so I'm going to end up doing nothing. And I say it looks the same on the outside because that can also lead to me laying in bed, just kind of wasting my life away. And while both the depression and anxiety can lead to me, if you were just watching me, if I was an animal in a zoo exhibit and you were watching me, either way, you just see me just kind of laying there, not doing anything. But it feels so different internally because when the anxiety is causing me to be stuck, I'm not shutting down my emotions to stop feeling anything. I'm trying to distract myself because my brain is moving so fast and nonstop. I'm never focusing on any single thing. That's when the train of thoughts is this wild locomotive that has its brakes just completely torn out and the throttle is full blown pushed down, and I'm having to force myself basically to try to shut down, to try to stop my thoughts any way I can, to stop this feeling any way I can, because I'm getting near panic attack. So I end up still lying in a dark room, but it's more because I'm trying to give myself a break from sensory overload, as opposed to just trying to be numb. Because before I ended up laying down in that bed for this anxiety induced shutdown, I had spent the last who knows how long pacing and thinking and worrying and pacing and fidgeting and not doing anything, but still expending tons and tons of energy. And on these days, the effort level to get something done is also high, but it's high because for a different reason. It's not high because I'm forcing myself to muster up any level of motivation or energy. It's high because I'm constantly stopping myself from bouncing around, and it takes so much energy just to focus. It takes so much effort, I mean, just to focus that energy. My anxiety level is always elevated. So it doesn't always take a lot to increase it to the level that can get me near shutdown level. It isn't necessarily something, it's not necessarily triggered like by the same type of event that the depression can be triggered by, but if there's an unexpected cost or we're in some type of financial issue that or even potential financial issue, something that now has entered a new worry into my brain, that can sometimes lead me spiraling down the anxiety road. But this type of being stuck can also be triggered by seemingly nothing. Maybe there is a trigger, but I just don't know always what it is. But it can feel like it can come out of nowhere, where there's just days where for whatever reason I'm more anxious today than I was yesterday. Um, that can be very frustrating when I feel like I am doing the things I need to do. However, and if I'm being really fully honest with myself, even though there may not be an external trigger, I think the triggers for this level of shutdown, of this type of shutdown, I mean, can be more related to how well I am doing in the self care areas. If I have been getting the exercise that I need, the water, the sleep, all the basics, whenever I'm not getting the basics, that can tend to make my anxiety rise a bit more. My improvement in my mental health has also helped in this area. First, because generally speaking, I am much better at letting myself or forcing myself, getting myself, whatever the wording is, at taking better care of myself, at giving myself those basics. But also because I've been able to, like, whenever I feel myself getting ramped up, it's also preventative in nature because I'm able to ground myself and refocus on one thing that is directly in front of me. I might not prioritize correctly, but I am able to combat it by not worrying about the fact that I feel overwhelmed by having too many tasks that I won't be able to get done or I don't know where to start. I just have to start somewhere. And when I'm successful in getting myself to focus like that, it kind of calms the panic down and it allows me to keep myself moving by slowing myself down. I have two other ways that I get stuck that um, don't take the shape of me going in full shutdown mode the way that depression or anxiety can make me do. Um, so they don't necessarily look the exact same on the outside, but they can both still lead to me not getting done what I need to get done or even not doing the fun activity that I want to do. And the first one of those is just full ADHD paralysis, where I end up kind of just sitting in place and can be staring. I could be scrolling. We all can get stuck scrolling, but if you have ADHD, you can, with your time, if you have time that affected by time blindness with that, you end up realizing that I wasn't just doing this for 10 minutes. Oh, wow. I've been just constantly giving myself these little tiny bumps for the like 2 hours. I didn't even realize how long this time has went. But even besides that, without the phone involved, I might end up just be sitting there staring at a wall and telling myself, get up, go. move. Or maybe I am actually moving and I'm telling myself, okay, sit down at the computer. You already have everything ready. You know what you want to talk about. Go record. You like doing this. You have fun talking. You love to talk. A lot of times you won't shut the fuck up. Go sit down and talk. But I don't do it. It's like I just can't make it click into place. Um, and it can be for a task that I want to do. Sometimes it is a specific task that every time I just feel like, okay, I'm about to do it, I get this really strong surge of negative feelings. And I'm like, okay, wait, nope, not yet, not yet. But a lot of times it's not about any specific thing. It's, again, like I mentioned at the start, I might be wanting to play a game or I'm supposed to text somebody or go go for a walk. And I just don't do it. And those are the ones that are the most frustrating for me because it feels ridiculous. I don't know how else, if you don't experience this for yourself, it's really hard for me to find a way to make it relatable. And I tend to pride myself on being able to describe things or get a feeling across for somebody, even if they don't experience it themselves. Um, because I also tend to like to do the same thing of wording somebody else's feelings or experiences in a way that is understandable if I don't experience those things for myself. But I don't have the perfect way to get this feeling across of this type of stuckness of just, I'm not really feeling depressed. I'm not really feeling anxious. I just can't click on. I just can't start. And this time, if ever I'm able to, there's lots of different little strategies you can try to do. The big one is to break it into small steps. And sometimes that works for me. Like if I'm going to use the recording example, I'm like, I'm not really worrying about recording. All I'm doing is turning on the computer. All I'm doing is setting up the microphone. If it's going to DoorDash for a little bit, I tell myself, I'm not worrying about going to DoorDash. I'm just going to go sit in the car. Now I'm just going to drive out a little bit. And now I'm out driving. Okay, let's turn on my phone. Sometimes that works. But for me, a lot of times, I know I'm trying to trick myself. So I stop myself at the first step. This, like I said, is the most infuriating one for me. And I'm sure this is the one that, for anyone on the outside, has the biggest potential for them to just say, you're full of shit. You're lazy. You're faking it. What do you mean? Just do the thing. And I'm kind of right there with you. Not in that I'm lazy or that I'm full of shit, but just do the thing. What's wrong with your brain? What's wrong with you, Herman? You the thing is right there. It's really easy to do. Sometimes you like doing it, even if it's a thing you don't like. You know it's going to be done very quickly. One of the things that my wife likes to make fun of me for is there could be these little tasks around the house that she's been asking me to do for who knows months. And then when I finally just do click into place, I do click on, and then I do them. I can get it could be something as simple as changing a light bulb. It took me literally 1.5 minutes to go get the light bulb, go replace it. But that light bulb has needed to be changed for a month. Like, what took you so long to just do that thing? Um, Besides being the most difficult to describe, this is also the one that I have had the least success in battling. This is the one that when it hits me or when I'm having these times, I have not found a successful method at getting it. Sometimes, like I'll end up telling myself, like, okay, well, first I need to eat. I haven't eaten. well, I just need to think about it first. I need to do this as part of my process. But next thing I know, hours have passed by, and I've just wasted my time with avoiding a task, or avoiding any task, or avoiding any fun. Avoiding fun. It sounds dumb, and it feels dumb, but it feels real too. I This is the thing that makes me feel the most like I probably need to get on stimulants, to get on medication for my ADHD. I Specifically because I have had no consistently successful method in battling it, and that can lead to then depression or anxiety, depending on my mood, starting to creep in because of this type of paralysis. It can also lead, this is also the one that leads the most towards the shame and guilt hitting me really hard. Because I'm have no good reason. I can't even explain it to myself why I haven't done whatever it is that I should have done. My last form of feeling stuck is probably also due to my ADHD, but instead of task avoidance, it's more task abundance. I'll start a million different tasks, and in the fake name of efficiency, like I'm multitasking. I'll have a bunch of laundry on the floor because I say I'm separating it, but at the same time, I kind of stop separating it. And I went and I've recorded 10 minutes of an episode, and then I've went and I put soap on lots of dishes, but I'm not rinsing them off yet because then I had to go take a walk, and then I came back, and instead, before I start the um, other parts of my exercise routine, I'm gonna go back to that laundry pile. Oh, and then I gotta start writing a little bit. Let me do that. Oh, you know what? That grass looks like it needs to be cut. Let me get started, cut about half. Oh, I need to go get a water break. Oh, while I'm here in the water break, let me rinse this off. So sometimes it works out to where I actually do get a lot done, but a lot of the times I get a lot of things partway done. And so it's still a form of being stuck because also a lot of those times I'm doing these millions of tasks when I'm avoiding the one important thing that I was supposed to do. And I have spent so much energy and I feel so tired, but I haven't really gotten anything accomplished. In fact, the house is messier. I feel like I've been trying to clean all day long, but the house is messier than it was when I started. Um, Part of that too, I could even be starting to do the thing that I was supposed to be doing. I think back to whenever I was for one a time in my life, whenever I was applying to different teaching jobs, and maybe I actually started the application and was getting partway through it, but I had to get off the open a new tab, I should say, and go look at an address of a former employee to fill out the application. But whenever I open Google to get the address, oh, look, what's this say? Let me see what this story is talking about. And then that story reminds me of something, a fun show that I remember that, hey, is that still on? Is there a new season of that? Oh, wait, it got canceled. Why? Why is the story not getting finished? Oh, that reminds me of that other TV show that never got finished. Remember what was that one? Oh, who was that actor that got into it? Then next thing I know, I didn't finish the application. and hours have passed by. Um, Both of those, probably as I'm saying it out loud, are more evidence that I should be medicated. Um, but then that would require me to go through the process of setting an appointment and first finding the psychiatrist or pharmacologist or whatever person I need to find to prescribe me the medication. And then I got to call and set an appointment. And that's very, very easy to do. But you heard what I've just been saying, right? Am I really going to do that? I hope so. I think I should. Um, that also can lead to just completely feeling that I am stuck and wasting my life away. In the meantime, a big thing that has helped me combat that though is the same type of grounding techniques I use for anxiety. The Whenever I catch myself going down these different paths, being able to stop, take a couple breaths, and refocus myself on whatever it is I'm supposed to be focused on. Um, and I actually have had more success battling this type of stuckness than I have the not being able to click on. Um, More success does not mean full success. In all four of the ways that I get stuck, they still happen. I have not figured out the correct methodology, or I have not got myself into a place to prevent or break myself out of it all the time, or even probably not even most of the time. And whenever you live the life of you get stuck like that, it hurts your life in a lot of ways. Practically, I mean, I'm sure you can already infer the different ways. Like I've already mentioned the idea of household chores, household tasks, of not taking shifts on gig jobs, or not filling out the applications at different times of my life where I needed to get a job and it took longer to get one because I was stuck for a while. Um, but it also has really big internal effects because of all these practical and logistical negatives. I have a ton of shame about being this person that gets stuck. It's very embarrassing to not be able to function consistently, especially when it shows to the outside world in different ways. On top of that, I have a lot of guilt for making my family put up with either us having a little bit less money at times, like I described, or put up with me not changing this light bulb, and now they've been having this hallway be dark for longer than they should have had it, or my kids not having their little robot toy fully assembled for months because we were supposed to do it together and I couldn't get myself to get started on it. It makes me have times where I have completely lost trust in myself and allowed fear of the pattern restarting, and let that fear and lack of trust take away my ambition in different ways. This podcast is an example. I wanted to do this podcast for a long time, but it took me forever to release it. Even I had recorded a lot of my early episodes. I had recorded over uh, a long period of time, but I never put any of them out because I didn't want to. I felt like I needed to fix myself first. I needed to fix this pattern of getting stuck. And even once I did start putting them out, I never set an expectation of schedule because I knew that at some point I'm going to get stuck and I'm going to fail that schedule. And now I've just exposed myself to everybody as a person that can't function properly. And a big part of that is realizing how that makes me look to other people. I mentioned that it can make me come off as lazy. And while um, the one perception that I can't argue with is that I'm not 100% dependable or reliable, because I know there's times where I'm going to get stuck and the thing I promised to do, I've not done. But I do always get aggravated at the label of lazy because, as I mentioned, like when it comes to depression or any of these types of ways that I get stuck, it's not about me not willing to put in effort. Sometimes it takes so much effort to get so little reward. And other days, I fly through and get so much productivity in what feels like no effort at all. It's wildly inconsistent, my effort to productivity ratio. But besides that, I mean, I have I worked full time and I was a full time student in college. I was a stay at home parent for three kids that are all 1 year apart in age. Um, I am not opposed to doing hard things. I'm not stuck because I just don't want to do things or because I just don't feel like it. In fact, well, that's what makes being stuck so much more aggravating because I do feel like doing the things. I just can't always get myself to do them. But like I said, though, the fear and the lack of trust in myself has definitely caused me to make life choices around that. Um, and I've had to as I try to build my life and build myself up and not just come back from the time when I was depressed, but just kind of go moving forward into being a more fully functioning adult. I do have to take it into account and just treat it as a matter of fact that there are going to be times that I do feel stuck. There are going to be times where I cannot get myself out of bed. Um, and maybe if like say I have a job and I'm going to go, I can't necessarily call into work, but I'm not going to be efficient that day. I'm not going to be bringing my A game all the time. So I try to plan around that. I try to, at times, I've tried to plan around that to my own detriment. Like where whenever I am in motion, whenever I am feeling good, I've tried to push myself and get ahead and get ahead and get ahead. But I've had to learn to stop doing that because that just leads to burnout and makes the stuckness come on quicker. So I've had to learn how to manage it and be more preventative, like I talked about earlier, um, and better with my self-care and realizing that sometimes I do just need rest. And it's not that I'm stuck, it's that I went 2 weeks straight of not of getting everything that I was supposed to get done the last month. I got it all done in 1 week, and then the next week I did everything that I was supposed to do the next month. And now it's not necessarily that I'm stuck. I just legitimately need rest and have to give myself that grace, so that I don't spiral and get back into the level of stuckness that I've gotten back, or that I've gotten into before. I've had to learn how to manage not letting these time periods of being stuck affect my family as much either. How to still be present for my kids and be present for my wife, even if I'm not at my best and I'm not able to do things. I can still stop myself from shutting them out whenever I feel like I'm shut down. So, in all these ways, I have made progress. I am definitely better than I was a couple years ago. I'm definitely closer to being the person that I hope to one day become. I just need to keep taking it day by day. And when I do get stuck, continue to take care of myself and trust that I am going to come out of it. I've come out of it every time before. And if you follow trends, I'm definitely trending towards getting stuck less often and coming out of it more easily. So, if you're somebody who, like me, has these times of feeling stuck, whether it's depression, anxiety, ADHD paralysis, whether it's trying to multitask and failing spectacularly, or whether it's something completely different, whatever reason it is you're stuck, give yourself that grace. Take your time. You're not gonna dig yourself out of a hole all at once. You're probably not gonna dig yourself out of a hole anyway. You're gonna climb out. Remember, you only got one life to live. You might as well enjoy it while it lasts. Have you ever... Fucking hell! My cat just jumped on me and clawed the shit out of me as he's trying to climb the chair to get up next to me. That's clearly an outtake.